Welcome, beautiful people. It just turned 1:01 from 1 o'clock. Double zeros of source energy backing up the one of the one, but also the magician of magician embodiment, and then going into the one of two magicians with space between. Very important messages again. If you didn't listen to the twin flame reading yesterday, I urge you to go back and at least watch the first half if you don't have time. There were some very important messages for you guys, and the codes are important not only for what I bring to it, but for you to expand on what I'm bringing to you, because a lot of the information may be in pieces, and it becomes the whole by everybody joining together and bringing their own perspective. So there's more messages today that were very important regarding DNA, so please stay tuned for the Metatron read. I have a message of the day, and I have a twin flame read as well. So I want to get right into it. We're going to roll the dice as well. So for the dice, for the twin flames, today is the 15th of January. It's my sister's birthday. Happy birthday, Con. All right, for the twin flames, we have the North Node, which is in Taurus right now. We have Sagittarius energy, and the arrow is important in the read as well. And then the 4 of the Emperor, which is also the 4 of stability, building, structure, survival energy, as opposed to the 8 of manifesting dreams. The 4 also is very big in this read. We had all 4s come up in the main part of the read, or the main cards anyway. And then we have Sagittarius, again, a very benevolent energy, along with Taurus in the North Node and following that guidance. But there's a lot about structure here. You know, Taurus and Sagittarius are very different, because Taurus is very stubborn and follow through, whereas the Sagittarius is more happy-go-lucky. You know, they're all about knowledge and new adventures. And then we have the 4 again of structure, which is more aligned with the Taurus energy. So let's see how that all plays out. Let's see here. Okay, so the Metatron read, this is the picture of the cards. But again, these are all channeled reads. There's lots of messages that come in randomly for me to give to you. Okay, so that's the read. Just so you know the way I put it down, if you're interested, the underlying energy or the bottom of the deck is here, because I go 3 cards down. This is the bottom of the deck, and then I deal this way across, and then these are like a summary, and then these are usually 3. Sometimes they're more, depending on what I'm guided to put down. Yeah, okay. So this Metatron read today is the 15th of January. Again, you might want to preface this read with the first half of, or at least the Metatron read from yesterday, because there were messages, there might have been messages in the message of the day yesterday too, I can't remember. But the Metatron reads have been very important in the coding they're bringing up. So if you have time, please listen to the one from the 14th, yesterday. Today's the 15th, it's Martin Luther King Day. The 15 of the devil, which is the shadow energy, and also the day adds up to 22, which is the fool. And the fool's journey of an open heart, taking a leap of faith. But what is the energy when we bring the fool and the devil together? So we'll have to see how that plays out today. So, Metatron. This was at 9:55 this morning, the Hermit, and the 55 of the Truth, Excalibur, the Ace of Swords. And the underlying energy, the bottom of the deck was the gold card, which is like the Ace of Cups, but it's the number 16, which is like the Tower. So sudden events or epiphanies from the heart. We also had the chakra system, or the light body of the Queen of Cups, and going with the flow of the 42, which is 1-to-1, which was interesting for me because 38 is my soul number and 42 is my outer personality number, and they were coming up together here. So the first card out was your authentic self, about the 2 children loving each other, the inner divine masculine, the inner divine feminine. And the colors that came up here were orange, yellow, indigo, and blue, so both blues, so going basically from the throat chakra to the third eye, and then the gold of that unity, Christ consciousness. And so we have the yellow enhancing that as well. So we have a lot of blue and a lot of yellow here. The blue and gold makes green, of course, right? The solar plexus to the throat. The blue and the yellow become the green in the middle of the heart. But we also have the orange coming up here because that's creation. It's the sacral chakra. And here in this deck, it's the 24 of the Queen of Wands and that very physical body energy of the human. So we start this energy out with the Queen of Cups and the light body as opposed to the physical body, with 38 and 42, the Queen of Cups and the Two of Cups, in the one-to-one energy, which can be one-to-one with another person, but it's also you to your higher self, and going with the flow, with your cup of replenishment, that cup of love, the gold cup of the Ace of Cups, the sudden events and the epiphanies that you have, the cup of love and compassion lighting up in like an arrow up as the water fills up the cup, catching the water falling. Filling up your senses lights you up, just like John Denver. You fill up my senses. Like seeing the Grand Canyon for the very first time, that it's so grand that your eyes are unable to take it all in as a human. The magnificence of it, and this was at 10:07, the Wheel of Fortune and the 7 of the Chariot. And how could this be? Rapids to maneuver and trails to climb and follow, landscapes to fly over. Who are you today, magnificent one? Who is your feminine and who is your masculine, and what is the key to your pleasure? The cosmos mirrors you here with the 12 faces of your new DNA, that 12-strand DNA, the old DNA that was taken away or distorted and into the 2-strand DNA is now coming back in. The 12-strand DNA of the crystal line or crystalline DNA. And notice that DNA transformed is Dan. And I just talked about the Denon people, which did you notice the Denon people that are left over from Atlantis, and Elena Denon is spelled the same way. And she calls herself a druid. She learned her abilities of magic through her mother and her grandmother and her ancestors. And she's also learned other shaman cultures. So she's in Ireland now. So anyway, you can watch that. She actually has a whole video on that kind of stuff right now out on her site. But just the name Denon was coming up the other day. I gave you a whole explanation about the Denon cultures and the Canaanites, and then the Rhodes, which are the Rothschilds, that all came out of the Atlantis system, but went in their different directions. And what was seen as something negative back then is not how we're seeing it now, because now we understand, right? Fear is the unknown, right? So this was coming up again today because of the DNA coming up, the crystal line DNA. And yesterday the line was coming up as, right, that shortest distance between 2 points, or perhaps a quantum leap instead between 2 portals. If you realize that the point is never solid, there's always space in between. The DNA also comes up as one of the meanings for DNA is gout, which is, joint swelling and things like that. But the DNA is also do not answer, do not arrive or attend, and do not assume or does not apply. Drugs and alcohol also can come up under DNA. And then, of course, written out, DNA is biopolymer of deoxyribonucleic acid with 4 chemical groups, or is also defined as or functional values or vision of an organization. And notice organization starts with organ, like the human body. So the DNA is 4 chemical groups or bases: adenine, guanine, cytosine, and rhymine. And notice they end in 9, sign, and mine. This was very interesting the way they came up here. DNA is also defense nuclear energy. And I was also noticing Elaine Denon is ED, like Mr. Ed, and coming from the Denon lineage of the Rh negative, which means there's ET lineage in the human, okay? So we have we have here as the meaning, I went to break them all down. So the biopolymer is the story of the poles at the Y in the road. And remember, the Y is that Mercedes symbol with the dot in the middle, the 0 point, which is the tip of the pyramid, the home to which all roads lead to, okay? And so when there's multiple roads within that Y in the circle, there is no letter at all because it becomes all as one. So the story of the poles at the Y in the sea coming up very importantly today. It was pretty cool the way this came up. And also city was coming up because of the C and the Y as well. But this, so you see that the Y is the symbolism of the 0 point, right? It's at the middle of the Y in the road where you'd normally stand to choose which direction you want to go into. But it's just the home base to which all roads lead, like the rivers all leading into the one ocean. The C, and you know, I came up with the whispering bench came up yesterday in the read, and they wanted me to see this because when I talk about the Y in the road, I talk about the circle, like the Mercedes symbol with the Y inside of it to make it easy to understand, because the circle is the human embodiment of source. And then here we see the Y in the road, which is looking at the pyramid from the top down to understand the 0 point. Well, the letter C was so cool the way this is coming up. So then first let me tell you the way the breakdown was interpreted. So the biopolymer of deoxyribonucleic acid, or DNA, with the 4 chemical groups or bases, adenine, guanine, cytosine, and rhymine, was broken into, as I broke it down into definitions of the shorter words within each word. The biopolymer is the story of the poles at the Y in the C. Because MER is the C, it has other meanings as well. But the C, remember, is a circle that's open-ended, like the whispering bench. And it echoes from end to end. It also is the mare horse, or the female horse, the apple and the sky, the one, the me, the we, and to dare to be brave. So the C, in the sense, was coming up from the word MER, and that's where all those definitions were coming from, but very profound with the horse. I always talk about Mr. Ed, and the apple, which, right, is the Garden of Eden, and then the sky, of course, and heaven, the whispering bench being referenced in the sound loop, basically, the one, the me, and the we, which is the one and the all, and then to dare to be brave, to expand beyond ourselves. So then the 4 bases are ADE, ADE, that's the adenine, and the guanine. So ADE and GUA, the definitions for those, and then cyto, right? Cytosine is cytocell, of course, and then we have RHY, with mine. So the way they came up was first of DNA, which is of oxygen, which are X's and O's, kisses and hugs, a rib, and the human embodiment of source, and multiple nuclei, or cores, or in other words, ACID, acid, alternating currents, identifying them. The Photon Belt then came up, which was discovered in 1961, happens to be the year I was born. The Photon Belt circles the Pleiades, and all at an absolute right angle to its orbital planes. We orbit the Pleiades once every about 25,860 years. And there is and again, half that cycle, the mid-cycle there is 12,500, is what you probably hear a lot. And then there's a 2,000 year of transversing it. So there's a multi-cycle convergence that happens over 206 million years in one single point, which is what the harmonic convergence is. And guess what site I went back to again today? bibliotechapleiades.net. So again, it's bibliotech, spelled the way you'd think it would be, and then APLE, kind of like a short for apple, but it also looks like Pleiades at the same time. APLEYADES.net. Okay, so this I was taken right back to this website again. So the Photon Belt came up, and that was a download. It just came right to me to look it up. The huge toroidal belt of interdimensional light that passes through the Milky Way galaxy in a 26,000 year cycle. The last encountered at the beginning of 1997. Fortunately, Earth was put into a special hole in it that was drilled by a coherent bow wave of gamma particles from a nova that was first observed in 1987, which is that harmonic convergence. ending into the mainstream of this energy established or estimated as 2011, where it would really be in play. The universe reaching the point of expansion. Just like the explosion and implosion, here is the in-breath and the out-breath of God, but in our density at about 11,000 years, corresponding with the grand cycles of the orbit of our sun around the central sun, Alcyone. Transitioning into superconsciousness, or the second coming of Christ, is to occur at the present moment, at the precise moment of suspension, and suspended animation has been coming up a lot in the past couple months. In the moment of suspension of movement, like the 11th hour, between the expansion and the contraction, going parallel with entry into radiation of the photon belt, or the manasic vibration, it's MANASIC, vibration or radiation. Estimated to enter the photon belt at a speed of 200,008 kilometers per hour, or in other words, the twinkling of an eye. 10,500 years of darkness between 2,000-year periods of light afforded the incarnating man repeatedly his spiritual evolution. And there were two purposes for what we're going through now: a sorting out process to gather matured souls into the light, and affording the weaker ones who are just maturing now a stabilization period of respite or opportunity for further spiritual growth. Those not acknowledging divine love as the essence of their being during the 10,500 year period are given another chance, so to speak, in this sense only of the day of judgment, but where man judges himself. Fear may have been needed in the past to kind of light a fire under their butt, to get them going into looking more into themselves, not just believing everything they see and hear. But not so much now, as obviously you all know the Schumann resonance raising, and we're all coming into our own knowing. But again, now we're using the enlightened approach as opposed to the fear approach of the past. So then it was 1111. So I went back to the Addy and the Gua, and both of them were the 9. Or in other words, the Addy and the Gua are the royal cave, or the crown cave, or the crown island. The palm, the nut, the bamboo, which you can't kill, right? It comes back no matter what. And there has to be healing energies in bamboo because you just can't kill it. It keeps growing back and back and back. The I am, the younger maternal aunt, which is really funny because that's my sister whose birthday it is today. And the father, farewell, and chin, and the 6 of the family lineage. The cave, the palm, and the nuts, the marbles, the butt of the buttock, and the bamboo are all coming up as kind of like they're all kind of unstoppable energies. The collective cyto, or cell, and then the RHY means too much, or then to give, because there's an overflow or put. The cell is part of the sign, the cyto sign, the sine wave, and then the rhy mean is the too much, and then the overflow in order to give, or mine, all mine. The RHY of the RH factor, and the Y in the road of the point where all roads lead to, mine, all mine. The rhyme of rye and me. The island, the avatar, the island or cave of the collective, the cell sign waving hello from the sea. It's too much, so then it gives, in overflow, the RH at the Y in the sea. Mine, instead of why me, it's rhyme or rhy me. Give to me. That's the rye in the road. So what this came out to is the collective waves to me. And again, Martin Luther King birthday came up, which was interesting because Martin is like Martian and Luther is Lou, their king. Was very interesting. And then Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds was coming up, and I'll get into that in a second too, which was very cool. The Crown Island, or the I Island, the I land, as the collective cell sine wave. Remember, the sine wave is as an arc up and then an arc down. But it is side to side, the sine wave, as opposed to the up and down, right, of our energies. The dance from side to side from like the masculine and the feminine is like the sine wave and the heartbeat. But it's also, notice, the queen's wave is side to side. And how does she hold her hand? She holds it in an arc. And this is the whispering bench arc. The C, but not the rounded C, but the oval C. And this is, an Ovaltine was just coming up, so I don't know if somebody's drinking that. But this was very important to understand. The side-to-side wave in a C configuration, and the RH, remember that the queen is supposed to be from the RH negative factor of the ET lineage, but there's dark and light ET lineage, right? So this is supposed to be coming from the Rothschild's lineage, or that section of the old Atlantis, and the 0 point of mine, all mine, which of course comes up as service to self. The two parts here of collective, right, the two nines, and then one part's the neutral of the sine wave up and down, and then the last part is service to self. So a balanced wave between the 9 and mine, airing on the side of 9, since there's two parts of the collective, as opposed to only one of the mine, all mine. So the 12 faces of DNA was coming up here at 1133, which again is the 11 of alignment and truth and balance, and the 33 of the Christ vibration and unity consciousness and standing up for oneself without being defensive or going to war. The 12 faces of DNA. And then the YNC acronym was coming up here because, again, the Y in the road is a very significant symbol because it shows you the 0 point, what it is. And then the N, guess what the N is symbolic of? Well, put an arrow on either end of the N and you get the implosion and explosion, right? And then the collapsing in the middle. And then you have the C, which now I get to explain to you about the C. The C is the same as the O with the Y in the road in the middle, like the Mercedes symbol. But the C, remember, is a plane of existence, right? So when you see the circle or sphere of a planet and the rotation around, the planet's going around the sun, when you see the 3 rings, you see them in oval shapes, the planes of existence, right? You don't see them as a circle because they're all in different positions at different angles. So when you see the spheres, you usually see them in an oval shape, not in a round shape. And so what they're trying to show you is take the round steering wheel of the Y in the road in the middle, like the Mercedes symbol, and put it on an angle, and you're going to make an oval. And then one end of it, 1/3 of it, right, because you have that Y in the road inside of it with the center point as the 0 point. But now that center point's no longer in the center because you're seeing the sphere or the axis on an angle. It becomes an oval, and the 0 point becomes skewed to one side, the side that is open, the third that has been taken away. And the reason why it's open-ended over there is, again, the C of the whispering bench. And it has to do with I'm not a scientist, but it has to do with the science behind the echo chamber of the whispering bench and why that shape of the C is so important here. And it has to do with being warped because it's warped from the circle to the oval shape, with 1/3 taken out. The whispering bench has something to do with this. And again, the plane of the sphere being on an angle, the axis being on an angle or being warped. It's twisted in a certain way. So what happens when you put 2 C's together facing each other where the open parts are facing each other? Well, of course, that's the toroidal field, the torus. And what happens is, as you're turning those 2 wheels to face each other and then becoming ovals instead of circles, the center goes toward each other. So it's showing us when the 2 centers or 0 points come together, that's where the toroidal field is, and that's where the quantum leap is. And I'll just show you the pictures I was, just roughly drawing at the top of the page, right? So you have the C, here is the Y in the road, the Mercedes symbol, and here is the C that it becomes when it's an oval axis and the center goes off to the side. So when you put two of those together, it becomes the toroidal field, and there's that quantum leap between two 0 points, and of course the energy that always goes out that way and down, or exploding and imploding all at the same time. And remember, it's the Queen's wave as well. So remember that we're talking about placing the zero of the human embodiment of Source on an angle, or shifting your energy. So all right, so then I get to the next page. Again, I was telling you about the DNA acronym and the collective waving to me, the crown or island and the I land, right, about me, as the collective cell sign wave side to side is the Queen's wave in that C configuration. The RH 0 point of mine, all mind, 2 parts collective, 1 part neutral wave of the sign, and 1 part service to self of mine. The balanced wave between 9 and mine, airing on the side of 9, or the collective. So the 12 faces of DNA, and then the symbol I was telling you about, the Y and C, which is the Y in the road, the N showing the implosion and explosion, and then the C that I just told you about, which actually put a dot between the lines of the C, is just the Y in the road, but tilted, almost the other way, almost perpendicular to it, to show you how, or it is perpendicular when the 2 points actually face each other. And then Danan was coming up here as well, the Dan people that we all come from if you have ET lineage, or that RH negative energy. And then the Y and C was bringing me back to the DNA. So D was coming up as a line, and then that C backwards, okay? So the circle that's been shifted to be perpendicular to the original circle is shown as a C, like the whispering bench, but turn it around to make it a D, and then that's the C with a line next to it. And then the point in the middle of the C where it opens would be that 0 point, and then the line horizontal would represent the quantum leap through that. So we have that, and then the N, which is the explosion and implosion of the arrows up and down, and then the merging between of them in the middle horizontal line. And then the A, which the capital A represents, again, the expansion and contraction, in that it represents the teepee that's well grounded, but it also represents the spaceship about to take off. So again, there's always, in everything you talk about, you're going to see both polarities and how they merge to the middle. So then Lucy in the sky with diamonds is coming up again. This is at 11:33 to 34, the moment it turned 44. So we went from 11:33 of the 12 faces of DNA to 11:44 to now Lucy. So what L was coming up as today, because for me before, of course, love comes up and the Elohim, and Lucifer can come up at times as well, and of course love. But today it was coming up, and for me, the upside down L is like the key. I don't usually get the L as the key. But today it was coming up as the L is the right angle. So at the right angle of LUCY, at the right angle, you see the point. That's literally the interpretation of Lucy. L is the right angle, U is you, C is you seeing, and Y is the 0 point. At the right angle, if you shift your perspective, you see the point, the 0 point field in the sky with diamonds, which means 2 almonds, 2 eyes, 2 petals, 2 fish, or eyes, flowers, and the Christ consciousness. I, the royal crown, the fish, or the Christ unity consciousness, the one for all and all for one, where the all for one and one for all were coming up with that ATP and rocket ship taking off at the same time, that they're aligned. And I was mushing it together, and Allah was coming up in there, and 1441 reflects in there, but also becomes I'm going to show you what I was doing. So as you go through the one for all and all for one, it becomes the TP and the rocket ship of the A. It becomes Allah with the 2 14s, and then it becomes Hala, and then it becomes this, which I was getting Hawaii when I first looked at it. And the 14 plus 11, when you collapse them, the 4 is the 11 with the right angle in there, the L. So it's actually 14 is just 11 with the right angle, the shift, and all reflecting. As the 4s come together, they become an H. But an H is just an I on its side. So then you have I, which is W's with a connection in the middle on each side. 2 feminine and masculine, 1 feminine to ground the masculine, or the TP to ground the feminine and to give them a home, and the WW of worldwide. So again, the 0 to the oval, O. Again, because 0 is a letter, oval is the number shape. The plane on the axis, like the planet's rotation around, when the axis shifts and 2 align, a core is formed, or in other words, a bond. James Bond, 007. The 2 O's are the human embodiments of source of 2 people, and the 7 is the right angle, and 2 humans, the key. At 11:59, which is the 11th hour, the moment before 12, which is 0 point field, the moment before 12, and then the Om of the Om, and then silence. That's the Ah and the O, and then Ma, and then silence, right? So that's come up this week as well. The purple moon of the dark night against the white moon becomes the purple moon. That is the 0 point from dark to light. Stretch and lunge to release your stuck energies, Queen of Wands, and the collective creation of Terra and Gaia of the 40 and 5D, and the flower of life, which may look like 6 petals, but it's actually 3 lines crossed, like the Celtic cross. They're connected. They're one line, actually. They're 3 directions as opposed to 6 petals, and symbolic of the Irish knot. So going back to Elena Denon again, and that Denon lineage. So the C basically represents the whispering bents as half of the toroidal field, right? And the core of the apple, of course, is the center. That's the Y in the road, expanding and contracting in both directions. And so if the C is in the toroidal field as the cheeks of the apple, and the 2 Y's are the cores of the apple, the L and the U is the shift and your energy, because that's the Holy Grail, right? You're the one with the energy. You are, like I always say, you are the message in the bottle. You were planted in this body, this avatar body on Earth, to spread your message. So again, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds is coming up very significant. At the right angle, you see the point. 0 point field in the sky with 2 almonds or eyes, petals, fish. So again, you are the royal crown of the unity consciousness, all for one and one for all. And then that bond of the toroidal field where the 2 C's come together, the Christ consciousness, when they face each other and both of their 0 point fields come together, which is that quantum leap, the twin energy of quantum energy, a bond, James Bond, of the double O's of the 2 humans and the 7 of the right angle, and the 2 humans being the key. The 0 point field, the moment before 12, the Om and the purple moon. So stretch and lunge to release all that stuck energy as part of Gaia and Terra, the collective creation on this planet, the flower of life of the 3 directions, or the Irish knot, inspired to cross the rainbow bridge. And remember, in what I read to you from the website, they talked about the photon belt and the bow wave that awakened us in the harmonic convergence. So here, Metatron's rainbow bridge is the bow wave first observed in 1987. And then the Who's Love Rain on Me was coming up here. So it's love rain, like a queen's reign, or me, O''ER, me. And then they also say rain on me as well. That came out in 1973. That was Quadrophenia. So again, the wind beneath our wings, the arc, the photon belt, the Bowie wave. You know, you can remember the Queen's wave as the Bowie wave, right? It's that C shape. An open invitation backstage. A wake-up call to listen and take notes, right? To tune in. And to line and whistle a happy tune, perhaps. The indigo child who is whole and complete. The star that you are. And then the URL was coming up as adding the right angle. URL. You are the right angle. The mother blue here, and then the word blue in capital letters was being broken down into the B, which is 1-3, and the W of the LU was coming up as a W, as the 2 U's, and then the E. And so you notice the 3WE is part of my rolling stone. It's just missing the M, which is the mother, which came up in the first word. So 13We comes up here as blue. The BLUE comes up as 1-3WE, one rolling stone without the M or the mothership to hold you together, who's present with gifts. Or 13We, or in other words, 13 is transition of we, which is 2 U's, and energy, or quantum twin flame energy of the push and pull. The purple moon, the 0-point field, and the divine feminine reflecting time out needed for this. The big bird queen of swords in her more magic vibration here, her more masculine vibration here, and the rainbow core, or the cloud where the rain falls from. Love, rain on me. With golden wings, 2 U's, and the Christ God with Sophia. And the Knight of Swords, codependencies, the truth of the right angle, and the left key to your freedom. The right angle and the left angel. The human connected to Jesus in glee, and then the feminine gelling. One smiley and ungrounded, and the other a bit sticky so that the hairs won't fly away. At the end of each day, you are held in the sunset. The sun used their gel and looking into the mirror to make sure it is set. The dragon fire of the sun and the pyramid, which breaks down into pi, ram, ID. Remember, pi is the human embodiment of source, centered. The Ramsgate is 4-4, and of course ID is the identity of Ramsgate and the centered human. When we start Aries, it's a whole new you, with the King of Cups needing to detach from drama and look up. While sitting in the grass, what they wanted me to explain to you, both at sunrise and sunset, it is important time to sit in the grass, because at that point, when the sun is half below the horizon, you are literally sitting in its energy below the earth. So when the sun is halfway above the earth that you can see on the horizon line, that means that the sun is halfway under the earth, and when you sit in the grass, you're getting extra potency from the sun at that time. At sunrise and sunset, the sun holds you, and this was at 12:21, going into the 22 of the Fool's Journey. Conquering your fear, start today to be the star that you are, the magician of joy and happiness, the yellow solar or sun plexus, with flame in right hand. This is a masculine center here, with the flame in the right hand, answering the call to leadership, or in other words, leadership is le aid, and aid came up as one of the bases of DNA, ADE. Le aid, our ship, is leadership, or the water, the crown, the chin chin, the island and the wave, or the 6 of the lovers, love, family, and community. Love our ship. Sophia's hips. A call received early, it's time to answer, to dance and climb the stairs into the light. At 1227, which is the Hanging Man and the inspiration of the Ace of Wands, that third flame, the underlying energy in this read was the light body, to be light as a feather, to go with the flow, and you're golden with sudden happenings, right? So as long as you stay centered in that energy, you can handle anything. The first column was about the authentic loving child, and remember to stretch. So it has to do with stretching your physical body, but just allowing you to stretch as well, to align and listen and take notes and tone, and take time out to review and reflect at that 0 point field, right, which is that meditative place. The second column is the galactic mirror with the 12 faces of Eve. And you notice that Eve is the V of creation between the two E's of energetic exchange. Two energies, or the twin quantum energies of the push and pull of creation. Two energy sources in a field of possibilities on Earth, Terra, Gaia, and the stars, or our galactic homes. Both indigo child of mystery and mastery, also practical queen of swords, big bird, so the birds tell me anyway. And the third column is the 0 point of Om, the grounded cup of water, the TP and you, which has two meanings, right? Because you're talking about the groundedness of living in a TP, but also the toilet paper and water, which has to do the water closet is the toilet. The grounded cup of water, or the TP and you, in the mountains with space and silence between. This is the AUM. The A of the TP, but also the rocket ship about to take off. The U of the Holy Grail, or the cup that holds your water. And then the M for the mountains to climb with space between. And the silence of being able to hear the voice of the universe that says, Om. Inspired to the ark on gossamer wings, two U's in the Christ God Sophia energy with the mother present to hold you when you're blue and on lockdown. So instead of resisting, just like many famous people you know who've gone to prison and were okay to do it because they knew how to stay centered in their heart, when you're on lockdown, instead of resisting, enjoy yourself, shift, find what you love to do in that moment, and put the key aside when you already know all the right angles and angels to call in when you need them. And this was finished at 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door. Don't forget to shut the door behind you at 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 12 of the Hanging Man and 34 of the energetic exchange, that EE. So for me, this is pretty amazing information, so you might need to listen to that more than once. These symbols are very important for your understanding. You don't need to read a whole book to understand things if you follow your synchronicities. So then we go back to my message of the day. So here's the message of the day. And this is my 4-deck read, which is the Animal Spirit deck, the LENORMAND Reverie, the GILDED, and the KIPPER decks. And there's one extra section here. This was the last section I did. And there's Mr. Ed and the Lion. This was very interesting too. So that was bringing up the two different lineages. So lineage, that word was coming up as very significant too, because you have the line of the 2 points, right? The shortest distance between the 2 points, and then the age, the reference. And age is also the A of the human embodiment of source connected to GE, which is energy, your energy source, your lineage. Okay, so let's go through this message of the day. And I don't usually watch the series. I don't like to get into things that I might get addicted to as far as TV. I usually just watch the movies. But I was watching a little bit of Afterlife because I probably thought it was a movie when I turned it on. But it was very interesting, actually. And it was very funny at times as well, if you want to check that out. But I want to warn you that each episode ends on a song that will probably make you cry. So Rocket Man made me cry, and then there were some other songs too that were coming up. But they're very nostalgic because it's about a man who's lost his wife. Okay, so we have the message of the day here was at 10:50 last night. The 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the 50 of the 10 of Cups. which is emotional fulfillment, happy family, happy ending of an emotional cycle. The underlying energy is the worm, the ring, the Three of Swords, and the message. So the newbie energy starts the readout here, who's a very intimidated energy because they're new. They're just like a child who's green. They don't know anything, so they're very intimidated by those bigger or older people around them, but their energy is very pure, and so they're kind of keeping it huddled to themselves. The newbie intimidated but committed to putting out disappointing messages. The shark and the panther going at it, or both had nosebleeds at the same time, or comparing notes, or the Black Panther is protecting the newbie from the shark. In a lover's breakthrough of gifts, flowers, tulips, which can be two lips, and hermiting, the King of Wands with rugrats or pests who may be into everything, perhaps in the house that they've committed to, and that could be maybe someone has an infestation or something, or a problem in the house that they just can't get rid of no matter what they do. Or the Emperor, and remember, whatever you resist persists. So if you love it and you become one with your animal friends, like I've been experimenting with my ants and such, you won't have any of those problems. I don't have fleas or I don't have ants in my house. A few come in and I make friends with them and they keep all the rest out. You know, the flea comes in, it's not even a flea, the gnat who comes and hangs out with me at my reads every night. I don't have any problems in the house with gnats. You know, occasionally everyone might see a gnat here or there, you know, that lands in your water or something like that. But I have one gnat that comes and hangs out and does my read with me. And they land on my chest and he crawls up my neck when I talk to him. And I feel their little energy, being a little bit afraid, but not, because they're kind of hugging me. It's a really cool feeling. So you might want to experiment with that. I mean, I was never someone who liked ants or liked gnats, but when you become one with them, you realize the oneness of you and all that is. So again, if someone is resisting something because they have pests in the house, try going into it and loving it instead, and experiment with the energy and how that shifts and changes. Perhaps the Emperor and the Knight of Wands had promised they would clean up, perhaps, but didn't, and then they came home and found a mess. But there's a choice of path here for the Magician who may be heartbroken or in separation. The wealthy man in transition or in a move, or in a wake-up call about the house and the union judication with a mature, loving woman perhaps, and or a message to bring. At 11:26 with the Justice and the Page of Wands, we have the Lizard, the Owl, and the Raccoon. The Lizard is off to see the Wizard, or perhaps the Wise Owl with Rocky Raccoon. The Lizard is on a magic adventure at night or at the full moon coming up, I think it's the 17th, with an empty family room. Now they can do whatever they want, with the owl peeling back layers to come together in a release from the wounded warrior's journey, as the raccoon, who's depressed in this deck, exposing the powers and towers and traveling to places or to peace at night, with pie in the sky and Atlas perhaps ungrounded, or perhaps a flying saucer, or at night going out on the boat. The second section here is the Serpent and the Tarantula, with the sacral chakra, with a broken seal, with the family tree who's patient with health issues or health care issues, with the tarantula cracking the whip with the rod and staff, perhaps at a crossroads over the past lover, or Saggy looking back, with Taurus and Libra, Gemini and Capricorn here too. In the third section is the hawk, the frog, the crow, the truth of the black egg, and the phoenix. That's the throat chakra, the black egg. And the phoenix, which is in this deck the root chakra. The hawk is clearing the way for a child in transition who may be dissatisfied with themselves or unhappy being alone with sudden wealth and justice. The frog in the rain with love rain on me, and the Queen of Cups burning bridges and dropping the facade with a mature man. The crow as the Knight of Cups may be taking a risk with the Page of Cups and the Knight of Cups' community here. The truth is a higher love, as the fox is leaving the hen house and not telling the lady in waiting, 28, which could be the twin flame, or perhaps in a choice of path. As the phoenix is rising, the Page of Wands is inspired to crack codes, but not sharing with official person on the fool's journey. Perhaps unhappy and feeling messed up, or that they messed up, and the Page of Cups with the Knight of Swords, who's reversed, in some kind of inequity or inequitable relationship. The Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups transitioning to a higher love and inspiration. The fourth section is the beaver, the octopus, the star, and the crocodile. The beaver is nesting the dream. They're a hard worker, and they give a damn. Things are looking up as the sovereign is exposing the coffin, or case closed, or perhaps cold case files. As the octopus mainframe, remember octo is the 8, and the octave is the 8th note on the piano, right? So the octave in the mainframe, inspired to write a letter to Justice, Judge, or Libra in a sudden thought, with sudden thoughts of a woman. The star may have been cut and presenting the truth to the Queen of Cups who's working hard, or the crocodile may be a lucky reptile that's coming out about a marriage, or a marriage of convenience, but I was getting convergence there as well. At 11:51 is Justice and the King of Swords. The sovereign and Justice, or a Libra, or perhaps their own sovereignty, presenting the truth of the awakening. With Death of a salesman, and that could be someone transforming their personality, right? Because the salesman tends to exaggerate the truth, right? Which is ultimately a lie. The death of a salesman thinking about marrying her. The Queen of Cups making her his, or making her his empress. Like wanting to transform the Queen of Cups into his empress. The fifth section here is the tiger, the camel, the cobra, and the gazelle, the wolf, and then the mouse and the hyena on the side over here, which feel like younger energies. The tiger is stalking. The camel is blue about that. The cobra, gazelle, and the wolf are also watching along with the tiger who's stalking. The mouse and the hyena are in the wings. The tiger with wise counsel about a ghosting or theft, with false person dancing around the masks, or perhaps use of them. With the camel feeling public judgment, with the world upside down, or a need for closure due to the Queen of Wands thief, or her letting a little thief in. The cobra, sudden star, or ending an emotional cycle with romantic little girl or moon child. The gazelle loving man, number 28, or twin, with one last rose to give. With new information that knocked him off balance, or on the high vibe journey, the wolf is stunned by the fleet of the Empress coming together to usher in the changes or the new modes of transportation. Trains, planes, and automobiles, or spaceships and time travel. I can't believe what they're seeing. The mouse is the romantic pup starting over, inspired by unexpected income or incoming, or perhaps their wings have voluntarily been clipped. With the hyena, Page of Cups with multiple faces of vulnerability. The wounded warrior and the hyena definitely could be the thief, that especially a little thief if it's a kid who didn't do something they weren't supposed to do. But the wounded warrior in surrender to a courtship of Ed's father, and that's a reference to Mr. Ed. Remember, Mr. Ed's father is the Godfather. The little girl and the little boy coming together in surrender, and the thief taking the world by storm, ending an emotional cycle with new information about coming together to start over in surrender at 12:05. And there's that energy of someone leaving a relationship because they want to explore their own dreams on their own, and then allowing a twin flame couple to come together. The sixth section here is the lion, the fire, the ants, and the horse. The lion was coming up as the Lyran, right? The original humans, with shadow, pushy polar bear, right? The polarities that be, and the resistance of the wise, privileged lady due to pride or lion issues. The wound between the Lyran and the horse people, which come up in Indian type religions, right? Because that comes up here in a second. So Mr. Ed and the Godfather, and saying, you know, what's the deal here? Taking a closer look at what's uncomfortable with the main female or the elephant in the room. The horse in spiritual union, mature and at peace with synchronistic energetic exchange and heaven in their eyes at 12:11. So of course, I went back to the lion and the horse, because the lion is obviously coming up as the Lyran, but there's another existence that's coming up here, that's coming up preceding even the Lyran energies of the horse energy, resisting, and this was at 12:12, resisting discomfort or facing dreams, cutting their nose off to spite their face, is how the horse got to be the lion in the first place. And you notice, right, the horse has a much longer nose than the lion. Leo versus Sagittarius, match at 8. Pushing and egotistical, or pushy versus egotistical, versus spiritual and refined, and the wound in the middle of the main, or M-A-N-E, main, female. Both privileged and wise, and the other hardworking. So again, they're bringing out the polarities of things, right? Because the lion is very egotistical, because that represents human energy, which has ego, and then the horse is more of that pure God energy. But we're looking at the coming to the middle here, and then the feminine energy was coming up as the same as the ultimate privileged person on one side, and then the hardworking factory worker on the other side, and then the main female in the middle, being both privileged, wise, and hardworking. And then the horse person was coming up. That's the Hayagriva, which is the Vishnu, and it's one of the avatars of Vishnu, with the horse head, but the human body of knowledge and wisdom, and a very white horse. With pure, it's considered to be like the purest and highest high of the religion, the pure knowledge guided by divinity only, over demonic passion and darkness. And of course, lion references ego. The special worship of the full moon in August, and also the 9th day of the Navaratri festival. I'm not saying it right, but that's okay. It's hailed as the Hayasirsa, and I'm getting to Sir with love for whatever reason. And the Hayasirsa equals horse and head. So Haya is horse and then Sirsa is head. And literally it said here that there is no God superior to this energy. The Haya people, or the Bahaya, are of the Bantu, northwest Tanzania, and the west side of Lake Victoria, because I looked up the Haya people as well. And that they're considered the fish people, which again is that reference to the Jesus people, that Christ consciousness. Haya also means haywood, beech tree, and chaya, which is an aspect of the soul. Also means to wail, awake, spicy hot, tasty, tomorrow, consenting, neglect, abandonment, toleration, and then also a sheaf of cut stalks of grain laid on the ground after harvesting. And then Griva, which is part of the original name, the Hayagriva, means mane, literally the mane of the lion or the horse. And you notice they were showing me two like God beings that both have manes on them. And then the main female was coming up, right? That's his mark of his feminine energy with him at all times. And the agri was coming up as agriculture, to agree, agreement, contract, and agro as a field also, sour, vinegary, countryside, acid, which DNA was coming up as acid, right? And then the harp, hay. So what this was coming up as, and it was really funny too, because in the movie or the show I was watching, they were talking about him going out on a date because he didn't want to go out on a date. In the show, literally, the Hayagriva was literally translated as, hey, to agree or contract and then go. It's like, and they were talking about dating in the show. So it's like, just, hey, say hi, contract to agree, and then go. And that's what this God name was saying. Consenting the mane, or the tasty mane here. And it has to do with dating, you know, and coming together of the masculine and the feminine. And the main female being the ring around the rosy, the ring around the lion's head, the ring around the horse's head. Very significant energies coming in here. And some of that was just coming up now, but that was the message of the day. So now we're going to go back to your twin flame read on the table. Yeah, yesterday too with Alana, the Irish knot was coming up. She was doing a lesson about what she has learned as a shaman. And so she talks about the Ankh being, it's like the wand with the energy, the chi, which she also calls the frill, which is the Pleiadian energy for the energy. So they're all being equated with each other, the Ankh, the frill, and the chi. But you might want to watch her video. All right, so the twin flame read here on the table was done at 6:38 to 39, which was interesting because when I finished clarifying, it was 28 to 29. So the 8 to 9 is very significant here, which is also 89, which is the phi energy of expanding and contracting, but it's also the end of the cycle, getting ready for the new. So the SIRIAN Starseed deck was cut and dealt at 6:38 to 39, which is the Queen of Cups and the Knight of Cups, which were also referenced in the reads I've done already, of the Lovers. And then I finished clarifying at 7:28 to 29, which is the 28 of the twins and the 29 of the being present in the moment, and the 7 of the Chariot, which is the feminine within the masculine, ascending or infiltrating, depending on what your mission is. And then we have the major arcana here of the Strength card, the Starseed, which is the Fool, Alchemy, which is the Temperance card, and Karma, which is Judgment. And before the read, we had the Wheel of Fortune and the Hanging Man. There were 4 swords in this read, so a lot of, again, intellectualizing or being too much in your head. The 2 cups, 1 wand, and that was it. So 4, 2, and 1. 2 cups and 1 wand. There were no pentacles in the main cards anyway. The Queen of Cups came up after the read. There were no court cards in the read except for the 9 of Cups, which isn't a court card, but it can be a person. And before the read was the Page of Cups and the Page of Pentacles. So 2 childlike energies or 2 messages. And the numbers were all about the 4s today. There were 4 4s that came up. 1 was in the main part of the read, and the other 3 4s came up in the extra cards that I pull on the either end here. But all 4s came up, which is 16, the Tower energy, the sudden event, and the Epiphany. Epiphanies was coming up as very significant today. And then the 10-10 of that high vibration and reminding you to keep it really high in that light energy. We have 8, 9, 10, begin again, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door, which came up in the last read as well. And we have the 410, which is 0 behind 41, which is the Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail, all about self-love, spiritual love, and new love. And also came up the 45 of the 5 of Cups, the Purging card, and the 58 of the 4 of Swords, which for me is the 5D connection in between the twins. And yep, perhaps 34 was coming up here too in the energetic exchange, the 8 of Wands, and the 9-10 begin again. The code line was all about love, partnership, and change, and sealing the deal. And the number was 16, coming from 4, 9, and 3. So here comes 16 again, the 4 4s, but also 4, 9, and 3. And in the Metatron deck, the Holy Grail is the number 16. So the Tower of Epiphanies, which is sudden events, epiphanies, and sexual exchange, is the 16 of the Tower. And the code line read is this: to see the source. CC was coming up as well. CT, so somebody needs a CAT scan here for sure. CT, but that can reference other things as well. But someone needs this CAT scan. So if you've been questioning and putting it off, go get your CAT scan. See the source, see your time out for the Sophia energy, or the Emperor and the Sophia, right? Because that would be the Godhead energy or the masculine energy and the Sophia. And then the 9 of Cups of getting your wish, being self-satisfied in separation or in jail, no matter what your situation. So that came up in the reads as well. It's fine. It's about not resisting, right? Not attaching and not resisting anything. So someone who gets put in jail, who's a very highly spiritual person, can find peace anywhere. And that is our challenge, is to find peace in separation and when you're by yourself. Because when you find happiness with yourself, you can find happiness in anything. Okay? So the ER ship was coming up here too as the mercy ship, and the energy of that, which is compassion. And Seti was also coming up, which is the number 7, and Octo was coming up. So September and October coming up, being significant here. Oh, that's funny, because then the 9 was coming up from the DNA. So September, October, November. But November's coming up as Nova as 9 as opposed to the 9. And then the mine is coming up as December, actually, which is really funny, which is also Deca of the 10, which is the Wheel of Fortune and that high vibration. It's mine, oh mine, the one and the all. So Seti also means to sleep or lie down, which is that meditation of connecting to the 7, which is not of this realm. It's the other side. It's the key. It's the right angle. So the L is coming up as the right angle, as well as the 7 coming up as the right angle, and the shift in different perspectives, right? The two sides of the same coin coming together. I was getting the Lyrian again. So I have to draw it now for you. Hold on a second. So I don't know why, and this is, so, like the 7 meeting each other is coming up as this symbol, as a Lyrian symbol, but it looks like a Z as well, right? So it's the 7 and then the L. That's coming up just now. Oh, look, the 7 and the L on its side is the N, which I just told you is the implosion and explosion, and then the meeting in the middle here. The implosion and explosion and the collapsing to the middle between them. And again, the Z, which is the N, just like the E is the M and the W. If you flip it over, it's the same thing. And the H being the I on its side. All of those things came up today. Which is interesting because we now have the E and the I both coming up in Seti and Set. So see the source, see your time out, which is toggling up to source in meditation, of the Emperor or the 4, the number 4. Remember, 4 has to do with the Emperor surviving, right? So the Emperor used to have to exist in order to help his people survive against other people who might come to war against them. But we don't need that 4 energy so much anymore. It's more about the 8 energy of manifesting our dreams. But the Emperor ultimately is only God because, right, Source is only the one who has complete control. Nobody else does except for that. And that is the Emperor's energy, is to have complete control. Not only over others, but themselves as well. But it's letting go of the ego is then only having control over one's own thoughts and not trying to control anybody else. So see source, see that time out for the Sophia energy of the feminine, the divine feminine, and the 9 of Cups, which has to do with being satisfied with oneself when you're even in separation or disappointed with something. And remember, in change is the word Chan and GE, which is energy. And Chan is the image board, like that motherboard, the channel, the free space, the open land, the snake, the plateau. And again, I talked about the snake being that symbol in all the different original Atlantean groups. The vagina also coming up as one of the definitions, and the song, the Khan, which is like the emperor, the male dog, to learn, to pour sauce over broth or some kind of solid food. So again, to combine the liquid and the solid, which is the circle and the square, the feminine and the masculine, the emperor and the empress. And then we have the message coming up again about the CTs. CT, but it'll also give me to CT. And T can be time out. It can be a person. It can be toggling up to meditate. See the four fours and getting the wish of separation. And that could be suddenly with the 16 coming up. And I'm getting court for CT. So somebody needs to get a CT done, or they're going to court ×2. To lie down, to sleep, sudden time out, to seal a love partnership and changes. 7 set. I was getting 7S and 4S. And S is usually Sophia, but it also could be south here. 7 south and 4 south. And remember that 4 to 7 is the sweet spot of numbers. It's the middle of the number set, but airing to the side of the light or the alkaline in the human body. The 7S and the 4S of the Sophia, or the set. And remember, ET is and. So set can be Sophia and 4S Sophia. So 7 Sophia and 4 Sophia, or the chariot and the emperor, where the Chariot is both the masculine and the feminine, but the 4 is just the masculine. Or the Warriors and the Emperors, who are happy alone in separation in a healing chamber. The Mercy Ship energy of catching a part of any open space that they can. Or in other words, vacation energy. Or part of any are their ship to learn energy, or mentorship is what I was getting as well. Men touring the ship. So there may be some of us right now on one of the ships, maybe Ganymede or something, which is Jupiter's moon, which is the first thing I was getting right now. So anyway, melancholy ET perhaps for Sophia gets their wish to seal the deal. And remember I told you that some of the masculines may be living dualistically right now, which may be the reason why you don't always feel their energy, or they don't always seem like they're actually there, because they might be living dually energetically, so they're not always fully present. So they may be sad because they want to be with you too, but they may be, doing double duty, and maybe that was their contract when they came in. The melancholy ET for Sophia gets their wish to seal the deal. And that could be someone being released from their contract as well. So the 10 of Swords here is the first card in the underlying energy, but it's upright. So it has to do with ending the pain. It can be doing it by getting a massage. It can be as simple as that, which I told you already. It's my sister's birthday today, so I was going to give her a massage tomorrow. So this, the 10 of Swords can also be betrayal though, or back pain even, right? So underneath the 10 of Swords is the Page of Cups upright, the Wheel reversed, the Page of Pentacles reversed, and the Hanging Man upright, the 10 of Cups upright, and then the 10 of Swords on top. The Page of Cups with a message of love, but it's a bad time for the Page of Pentacles reversed to hang out with the 10 of Cups upright family, or perhaps they are hanging out with the family, so it was a bad time when the Page of Cups arrived. Perhaps a family in pain, or perhaps they're grieving, or coming in for a massage, and the Justice of the Libra energy of truth and balance of justice with the 10 of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community, in a falling out in the past with the King of Pentacles upright and the Queen of Cups reversed, which can be an earth sign king and a water sign female, but they don't have to be. They can just express a lot of those energies. Or this could be brother and sister, or perhaps they're good with their brother, but not so much with their sister at 8:14. And you may have just called them at the wrong time. That's that energy that's coming up here. At 8:14, which is the dance, and then the 14 of that temperance card of that higher love and compassion and taking one step at a time off the beaten path. With Libra upright and reversed, but also Pisces and Capricorn upright, Gemini and Virgo upright, and Pisces reversed here, the lovers magically manifest new passionate offer to dump emotional attachments and or multiple loads, to end the confusion, or the King of Swords with a secret passion and in need of peace, a massage, or to end the pain, or in a painful ending or betrayal at 8:21, which is the dance of completion around the world. And 10-4 was coming up at the beginning of this read too. It was 4-10 and then 10-4 also. 8:21. The dance of the world, the dance of completion of the whole. The lover manifesting new passion by dumping multiple loads with the King of Swords, secret passion, but with no peace in a betrayal. The King of Swords perhaps with ski boots or lizard skin boots, and leaves on the floor with 4x4 channels or 16 on board. Or perhaps they're not channels and they're X's on board with the Y's in the middle, or no place to go home. All right, so we're getting now two columns of X's, 4x4, and then a column of Y's in the middle, which has to do with, chromosomes as well. 2 feminines for every 1 masculine column there in the middle, but no place to call home. Like, how could there be so many women in this world, and yet I can't find the right one? With a hook in the third eye, and their boat out of water. The King of Swords is very matter of fact, with Pisces reversed, or his need to use his intuition in order to find peace within, or without Viking or olive oil and salt and pepper. With 2 cups reversed and disconnect or at a distance, in unbalanced relationship and offering a new life to get over the loss and regret, or settling out with a landscaper, or spending to manicure the yard just right, or create a portal in the hedges. And that hedgerow or heathrow can be coming up as well. But I'm also getting that portal that I always remember in Bermuda. So Bermuda could be coming up as well, and it's very proper with hedges and all. So removing the block or imbalance, removing the scam or the unfairness, the unforgiveness also, by offering time, money, and effort to end their grief. With codependencies and beneath that a wedding, this situation involves marriage, and then the King of Swords going nuts without their flame, or perhaps they just have Virgo in their chart and grounding and integrating, sitting on the fence with dessert and sweet tweets and being led or told what to do. An offer of a new life or stage is set for all business relationship that's not working out. With scissors, magnet, coin on the entrance pillar, with billowing blues, hoping to bring it home, with fancy event and altar all set up, or wedding and honeymoon suite with blue-purple lighting, but in reality, or in the daylight, there's nothing in common, or eyes wide shut. And this could be two people in a long-standing relationship, or this could be parents, like where their child is getting married. And it's like they have this wonderful setup for the child, and then they're kind of looking at their own marriage, and they're realizing it's not really working. But again, it's this energy of not knowing how to cherish or appreciate a good thing that you got. Or one may be thinking sex is love, and the other is thinking if you really loved me, that sex wouldn't matter. And then the music of the 32 of the journey, and beneath that the happy ending of the 93, which is the reflection of the 39, which is the person being love, who has the music in them. And then the world upside down with secret passion and dumping multiple loads with two women perhaps, or divine feminine and Pisces reversed, or woman on guard, dumping emotional attachments that no longer serve them. And that could be somebody in the National Guard as well coming up. At 8:47, which is the dance of the 47, which is the synchronicities and having choices and heaven in your eyes. The day the music died, or the happy ending when the plug was finally pulled. The needing of closure and integrity and no longer confused about what's what. At 8:48, which is the walking away within of the dance, and the moving to peace with the Queen of Wands reversed, and the Knight of Wands upright, who may be uncomfortable after a sudden event or epiphany, and standing up for themselves to implement a plan of investment of time, money, or effort, and resisting sudden changes, standing up to the crowd. The Seven of Wands was coming up like an exchange for the Seven Pentacles, or someone wants their money back. With Sagittarius upright and Scorpio reversed and fiery, investing in ending pain or getting a massage to find peace, to get over loss or regret, a relationship that's not working out with a musical journey. The workplace success with big love and the Holy Grail, and the Page of Pentacles reversed with a missed opportunity or needing help, money, or an opportunity or invitation to get back on the horse and lead the way, perhaps depressed about a disconnect or being at a distance from someone, in the inequity of vacation exposure. I was just getting the Vatican exposure. I don't know what's going on there, but that could be something. The inequity of the vacation exposure of happiness of the Knight of Pentacles offering help in the downturn. Or the Knight of Pentacles surrounded by Leo upright and Libra reversed, or perhaps kids and a twist of fate. In the recent past is the Four of Wands reversed. The instability of the home or house, of moving or a visit, or the party is just over. And right, this could be like one last hurrah, is putting on this big party perhaps for a child, and then that's it. The party's over. The plug is pulled. With the Ace of Wands upright, offer from the Knight of Pentacles, offering sex and then going to work, or telling another at least. This is the way this was coming up. The Ace of Wands, right, which can be a sexual or creative offer from the Knight of Pentacles, offering sex and then going to work, or at least saying to them, or at least give me one or the other, right? I'm not going to live forever without at least getting something out of this, was the instability here. right? So the other person either has to at least give them sex if they're going to be home, or they have to go to work. You have to participate in the relationship. Or telling another this. The Knight of Pentacles upright may be helping with overtime, or things are just not working out and they're falling on their face or from grace, or perhaps embarrassed at work, or with issues with the Page of Pentacles reversed, perhaps stealing or lying, or cheaters and spying for information to make money, or bringing stolen merchandise into the workplace, or hiding a friend from the law or from their mother. The Four Cups grounding, integrating with the King of Wands reversed and the Hermit reversed, not working out with the King of Cups upright. The King of Cups upright may not like this combination over here. And then perhaps the kids or the Knight of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles reversed may be up to no good at work and doing something that is not within their integrity. Or perhaps they stole some money from their mother's or grandmother's purse when they weren't looking. And that's funny too, because I know someone when they were young who used to do that all the time. The parents never knew because they had a cash business. So they never even knew how much money was missing. The foundation here is the Eight of Cups upright, walking away within, and the Page of Cups upright with the Knight of Wands reversed in separation or time out, and the Queen of Swords upright going crazy, pushed to their emotional limits, purging to heal with the Knight of Wands reversed and the Page of Cups upright, perhaps children, right? The Knight of Wands might be out there doing things they're not supposed to be doing, and the Page of Cups may be too loving, and maybe you don't have time for that and they get on your nerves. At 9:15, which is the Hermit and the Devil, or the shadow side, with Sagittarius reversed and Virgo reversed here, and the central energy being the Strength card reversed, perhaps feeling weak or stuck or sick. At 9:17 of the Star and the need for healing and the need for dreaming, there can be arrogance that comes up with that as well, and needing the courage, or the Page of Wands perhaps with Leo in their chart, and the Empress upright with the King of Swords upright, perhaps they were up all night waiting for their child to come home, or a deception and rising above, or like I said, up all night waiting for the Page of Wands to come home. The block here, or the challenge being the Nine of Cups upright, getting your wish, or dumping a load with the Page, or with the Queen of Pentacles, while the Wounded Warrior is with Leo or kids, or exposing all on vacation, perhaps dead tired and needing to swallow their pride in the downturn of Aquarius reversed and Libra reversed, letting go to fix or make amends of the past, and the need for peace or peaceful place to land at 9:21, the Hermit and the World, or completion. Dependent, no longer obsessing or being powerless to the King of Wands reversed, showing no affection, but no longer spying on lovers or neighbors, and the Page of Cups unable to express romantic feelings to or with the Queen of Cups reversed, and the King of Pentacles upright, their superhero, perhaps surprising or shocking fallen angel or Sagittarius reversed, or the King of Pentacles may be surprised about losing patience or their temper with kids or soulmate, or falling out in the past, standing up for self to the crowd about bleeding out, a betrayal of the Hierophant reversed, which can be an establishment or a marriage or any kind of break in contract as well, or Taurus reversed, or in a divorce. And now here crowning is the Ace of Swords reversed in a split, divide, lie, with the Nine of Pentacles reversed, dependent, and the Emperor upright with the Knight of Cups reversed, who may be jealous or just moody over happiness or satisfaction of dumping a load, burden, responsibilities, or taking a load off to implement a plan, with sudden events or an epiphany or sex, or all hell broke loose in a breakup, a breakdown, or in, out, or breakthrough, in a betrayal, pain in the ass, or an ending pain with a choice to make, or given an ultimatum. Post-war, with the Page of Wands upright hanging out, perhaps to eat together, perhaps depressed and recovering from exile, or out in the storm without peace or no place to go. The Hanging Man inspecting every inch of their hostage in a break, divorce, or alternative belief system about reaping rewards, or spiritual divine feminine's heart. And the Queen of Wands upright in a happy ending, with lover, fallen angel, or Capricorn or Pisces upright and Taurus reversed, with family between them and a secret passion, and perhaps lost patience. Falling out in the past, or bad memories or childhood. And soon here is the Two of Swords reversed with new information or clarity, perhaps bored, tired of grounding and integrating, And the Knight of Cups offering love to end the conflict at 9:36, which is the 369 energy of the Atlas energy, the weight of the world, and the 9 of the Hermit. Perhaps of the sister or suffering in silence, with the Knight of Swords rushing in, with hostage or hands tied, or just out of prison, juggling or up to their old tricks, with the Fool reversed, perhaps embarrassed, or pretending not to see. The Knight of Swords is delivery to get them over it. The twin flames seeing themselves as starseeds reversed, perhaps taking a load off with the 10 of Cups upright family, or dumping it all on them and leaving. Detoxing and standing up about instability, or a move, travel or visit, or a homecoming. And the Queen of Pentacles upright with the King of Wands reversed and the King of Cups upright. Perhaps they're all three together, but none of them are on the same page. Lacking faith, falling from grace, or just fell and got knocked in the head or crown, or confessing to family and walking away. Standing up to the group to visit with the Queen of Pentacles, perhaps over slaving for others. And the King of Wands reversed over the 10 of Cups family, and the King of Cups is over them leaving. With Gemini or Virgo reversed and Capricorn reversed here, keep an open mind. There are religious factors or other differences. They could be cultural or age or whatever. Pay attention to the red flags, which have to do with signs and synchronicities, and follow your guidance and retreat, right? Go within. Around the twins or how they're seen is alchemy reversed or Sag reversed, overindulging or with bad influences around, or antisocial and arrogant. With Magician upright, manifesting a divide or split, or demanding the truth about energetic exchange at 9:46, which is the Hermit and the inner children, or the outer children who are being loving to each other, and third-party satisfaction here. The block being the 3 of Swords. And the Septi is coming up here again with the 7 of September. The 3 of Swords. And remember that September is the 9th month, but the name is 7, so they could be referring to July and not September. The 3 of Swords of September, or excuse me, of separation and disappointment and heartbreak and juggling and feeling weak or off balance with new information coming in that knocks you off balance within a love partnership or changes or personal growth, even more so, bleeding out as third party in a sexual tryst with the Magician who is hangry when they're not getting their way or not eating right, wanting their steak and eating it too at 9:49, the Hermit, and getting your wish. With Karma reversed without keys or intuition, an angry Magician in spiritual betrayal, or Aquarius reversed or karmic coming in with good news, and the Page of Swords stepping up or cutting them off. Or they're stepping it up, needing to swallow their pride, as Pisces, Sag, and Aquarius are all reversed, and then Gemini's like in really great energy here, ×2, right? So Gemini's gold today. And grounding, integrating an island to themselves, that's that Gemini energy, which can reference the twins as well, with the Queen of Cups reversed getting over loss and regret, rising above or awakening to come out about the Divine Masculine's heart opening up, and the Page of Wands inspired by good news. At 9:54, the Hermit and the Page of Swords with that good news. So at 55, which is the truth, the Page of Cups with Libra and the Page of Pentacles reversed, perhaps Capricorn, finding emotional fulfillment, giving massages to each other perhaps, or in a happy ending yet painful end, leaving embarrassed as fallen angel, moving or visiting sick person or needing strength, and challenged by satisfaction of self with clarity about separation, or a split and the need to swallow their pride. Wishing on a star with the Queen of Cups reversed, getting over their grief, perhaps having trouble sleeping as the Divine Masculine's heart opens, and ending pain, maybe destabilizing while implementing a plan, walking away to find strength, courage, wellness, and clarity, and challenged by self-satisfaction of lacking faith with new information knocking you for a loop, and losing patience or temper in separation or disappointment, and needing to swallow pride, or perhaps somebody choked or spoke too soon. Grounding, integrating with the Queen of Cups reversed, getting over it and rising above, and awakening the Divine Masculine's heart at 10:03, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Empress. All right, so just a couple quick ones. We're already an hour and a half. So it's 2:30 on my clock too, which is the 2 of the High Priestess and the 30 of the Union, or the 23 of the King of Wands backed up by Source. And we just hit 1:30 on this clock. So we have 1:30 and 2:30, which is the Magician's Union and the High Priestess's Union, or the masculine and the feminine both in union. The feminine came into union first, and then the masculine. All right, so from the Animal Spirit deck, what is our message to tie this all up? Take a deep breath. And that came right out on its ear. The Sea Serpent, which is the sacral chakra. And there's the seal that's broken, right? This could be somebody getting pregnant who doesn't want to get pregnant as well. But again, cracking open the seal to get in, infiltrating. And the sacral chakra is all about creativity and sexual energy. With their eye on you. There's the whale who's exhausted, and there's the fish out of water. They're all scattered. They're not grounded. And this one's just exhausted. The fish in the sea, the water is very dark here. Notice that? So here is the unicorn, who's the gatekeeper. It's like the divine feminine in the etheric realms. But again, remember I told you that the masculines may be living dually. So they could be like doing Pleiadian work up here and then exhausted down here in all the dark emotions. And again, a crack in the seal over here of the sacral energy of creation. A crack in the veil, a crack in the earth. So I don't know if there's an earthquake that happens somewhere, because that could be happening too, and it maybe under the sea. Sea. And there's the toroidal field again with the sea and the whispering bench. So you see how dark the water is here? But all the energy around the earth is dark too. This is the energy of the 5D gate holder as the collective awakens. But the fish here are really struggling. I mean, you can see they're getting just a little clearing here around just this one little red energy. But that's as much as they're able to get. And they're really scattered here. And the whale, too, has been suffering for a while, just exhausted, this older energy. And this could be the young is really scattered, the old are exhausted by this energy because there's been a break in the seal. So there may have been some dark energy that infiltrated. And, of course, the Pleiadians are probably working, right, again, to clear whatever broke through. Okay? And that's it's like all is well. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing your best to clear. And then we have the little mouse here too, right? They're struggling too. And they see how beautiful their energy is, but it's, there's just so much dark. It's just overwhelming. So it's not you. It's coming up. There's a lot of dark energy right now. The bottom of the deck is the raccoon, all right? So all the cards were in dark except for the sea serpent showing you the break in the seal. Okay, so make sure to protect yourself every day and clear yourself every day. And there's that newbie with that pure energy, like a newborn. And then the energy of the raccoon wearing the mask, being very depressed about that, perhaps with their newborn. Because they can't see their face. They can't tell them their tail. They're like looking at their tail. I have so many things to tell them, but they can't see my mouth. And loops. I'm getting somebody with digestive issues as well. Like having gas in their intestines and getting bloated. So watch out for all those things that might bloat you, like bread or soy or wheat. And don't eat whole grains because they have a lot of lectins in them, that kind of stuff. So watch what you eat right now with all this dark energy coming in. Let's see what the journey of love has to say for you. So from the journey of love, it's a little bit choppy here, like the ocean with choppy waters. All right, and heaven. And there's that projector. So remember too, a lot of things you see may be projections of the dark to get you to see something different than it is, to pull your energy down. So don't believe it, right? Knowing all is well in every moment, that heaven of heaven on earth, and this is the Green Mile as well, where he's really, remember in that movie, right? He had every reason to feel badly because he had all these drains on him all the time. But he found the happiness in everything, in the good in people. And just the childlike look on his face when he's watching the movie at the end, right? It's very sweet. So there could be, again, there could be projected things from the dark causing you to, to go into fear. So be aware of that. If you're conscious of that, you won't let that happen because you'll just not go into fear. But also it's the projected energy of the ETs projecting themselves into our realm from 0 point. It's referencing the 0 point here at the middle here, from where all rays come from, where all roads lead home. Oh, the Green Mile, the heart. So reminding you. And then we have sensual awakening, which is the bliss state. The 64 is the pain, but when it reverses, it's the bliss. So when the pain leaves, or when the pain in the asses leave, there's pure bliss. Remember to stay in your heart space. The bottom of the deck, oh, there we have the eruption of light is next. That's the Hieros Gamos energy of the 0 point explosion and implosion all at the same time. There's very powerful energy there. And there's the Mary Magdalene energy, right, of carrying the weight of the world right now, the M, right? And the natives carrying the heavy load, the weight of the world, the 41. The Danan energies are being referenced here. The 41 of the Ace of Cups, new love, spiritual love, self-love, knowing without knowing, being in your self-love. And there's that buttercup yellow, and that you are, remember the phone, the 2 cups and the string are coming together like the pearls and the pearl threaded of the 38 of the Queen of Cups, which is the Mary Magdalene energy, in loving herself first. That she has the ability to carry the weight of the world because she keeps it light and she stays in her heart, present in every moment, and is always connected on call, right? So if you spiritually connect telepathically, you always know when they need you. All right, so these are the 3 cards that came out here. Very profound, okay? The Green Mile, projecting from the heart. The sensuality and the sensual awakening of the pain leaving us, putting us into bliss, blissing out, in the eruption of light of the Hieros Gamos, aligning perfectly in an eruption of light. Okay, I'm in heaven, I'm in bliss, I'm in Hieros Gamos. I'm in heaven, I'm in bliss, I'm in Hieros Gamos. The 70 is the 2 of Pentacles, the performer. And then again, the 64 of the ending pain for bliss. And the eruption of light with this at the perfect alignment. And you notice too, this is the 2 C's of the toroidal field coming together. So they wanted me to show that to you again. And again, the 2 Y's, the Y going this way and the Y going that way. And then you are the L and the U of Lucy, right? Remember the L is the right angle in order to shift, and the U is the Holy Grail, that's you. That you contain the key to bliss. Remember that. When you're dealing with all this energy, remember that. You always have the key to shift into bliss. You have to teach others how to stay present in your heart. Okay, so again, the sea serpent. Did we just read that yesterday? I can't remember. Sea serpent, healing emotional wounds and expressing desires. The sea serpent represents the energy of expression. Whether it's emotions, creativity, sensuality, or desire, the sea serpent helps us move and direct our energy into a healthy current. When the essence of this card is in balance, we express ourselves creatively and sexually without fear or shame. We know what we desire most, our hearts are at ease, and our relationships are meaningful and enduring. We loosen the grip of self-judgment and we let the cool waters of forgiveness in to heal our wounds. When the energy of the sea serpent is not yet activated, our emotions and creativity are left in the muddy waters. The current of expression stagnates in some areas of our lives, and in other places it floods. It's important to remember, no matter what the waters of our emotional lives look like, the sea serpent loves us just the same. Like a mother, she wraps herself around us in a gesture of protection. She supports us as we learn to express our true natures. So again, it's like the same energy that was coming up in the Metatron read of, you know, the divine masculine, divine feminine, like the Christ God, Sophia, and then the mother always there to hold you. It's coming up like that same kind of sea serpent energy. And of course, that's the second chakra, the Svadhisthana chakra, located deep within the pelvic bowl, known as the center of our creativity and desire, and is associated with the water element. It's also the center of gravity. So like about 2 inches below your belly button is the center of gravity of the body. It translates as in her own abode, indicating this chakra is the home of the Divine Mother, or Kundalini herself. And then we have from the Journey of Love, the first card out was Heaven, which is the final card of the book. You are meant to live heaven, now, not later, sometime after you die. What use is this life and body if not to live heaven now? Look for the mad divine genius in all that is, especially the puzzling parts of your life that make you scratch your head, or tear at your hair, or scrunch up your face and scream with frustration. Those are the places in which the divine is saying, here, heaven is hiding. Let's unveil it together. Let me show you. Let me unveil your own mad divine genius right here. Look for heaven, and Nat's here, unforgettable. Even in hiding, it will not withhold itself from you for long, beloved. It wants to be known by you. This oracle brings you a special message. The enlightener is calling you to more, to more. More divinity, more love, more acceptance, more embrace of life itself. There is no limit in what is being offered to you from the divine lover calling to you, the beloved. Rejoice and know that the dance of love between you and the divine is removing of veils of illusion one at a time until you behold each other, naked and true, finally to discover you are each other. You are love. The sky ablaze with morning light on silver wings of birds in flight. In gratitude a tear released, in knowingness embraced at peace. She speaks to those that gaze below, ancestral wings which call my soul, to open hearts and soar above. In awe the winds await this love. Remember your water, your rest, your joy in your nature. Be good to yourselves, rise and be